Why do people eat M&Ms? What makes eating M&Ms more likely? Well, one of the first ones I always hear is M&Ms are delicious. They taste good. You're right. Taste is a powerful promoting pressure. It's a powerful part of why we eat them. And Mars knows this. That's why there's over 30 flavors of M&Ms, and they keep introducing new ones. There's jalapeno chocolate and all these other things. Even though we know that the peanut butter M&M is the pinnacle to which M&Ms aspire, they keep introducing new flavors. Why? Because taste is a very powerful promoting pressure that varies between people. But taste is far from the only promoting pressure. After all, there are lots of things that taste good in the world, and to all of them, if they competed only along this single variable, it isn't clear that M&Ms would win as often as they do. So let's think about some other ones. How about satiation? Hunger is a powerful promoting pressure. It's one of the reasons we eat things in the world is because we experience the physical sensation of hunger. And M&Ms, because they have calories, actually satiate some of that hunger. So that's a powerful promoting pressure. When does M&M consumption peak? Mid-afternoon. Why? Well, because we eat lunch, our blood sugar goes up as that food is processed, and then our body releases insulin, pushing it down, and we get those mid-afternoon sort of hangry sort of feelings, and we gravitate towards things like M&Ms. Who knows this really well? Snickers. You've never seen a Snickers the commercial that says, Snickers, we taste better than M&Ms. Snickers does not compete on taste with M&Ms. What do they compete on? They compete on satisfaction, satiation. Snickers, it satisfies. Peanuts for power. You're not yourself if you haven't had a Snickers, right? It's Betty White playing football until she has a Snickers bar and then she's back in the game again, right? It's all about this satiating experience that comes from peanuts and the protein that's in peanuts. So that's what Snickers leans into. That's a very powerful promoting pressure there, the avoidance of that hangry feeling. What else matters when it comes to M&Ms? Well, mouthfeel is one. They feel really good as you crunch them in your mouth. I have this kind of private theory that even if M&Ms tasted of nothing, as long as they didn't taste actively bad, people would still kind of crunch on them just because it feels good. I think about all the people who chew gum long after the flavor is good just because it kind of feels good in your mouth. M&Ms have that delightful mouthfeel, that sort of crunchy goodness. You know, there's no sharp edges. They're very smooth. They melt really well. There's a beautiful sort of mouthfeel to eating M&Ms. There are other physical sensations and characteristics of M&Ms that matter. For example, in trace amounts, chocolate has caffeine. It certainly has sugar. Both of those are psychoactive chemicals that make our brain go, wee! And we like that wee feeling. That's a good promoting pressure right there. So it's not just how they feel in our mouth, but they actually make our brain quite happy. M&Ms are also social and shareable and fun. They have a number of characteristics that increase those promoting pressures. I was doing this workshop once and someone said, well, you can throw them at other people. And I imagined him in the office winging M&Ms at other people. He's like, no. He's like, you and your mates can open your mouth and go, ah, and then you can sort of throw them in each other's mouth. You can't do that with a Snickers bar. That's a really unique characteristic of M&Ms is this sort of small size. Makes them shareable. It's tough to share a Snickers bar, right? Breaking it in half, and I hand you this sort of gooey half. Right, M&Ms, hold out your hands. I can pour some in, right? They're a very shareable, social, fun candy, and they have a number of physical characteristics to do that. That's also backed up by their marketing. They're marketed around being fun. They're marketed around this. And that marketing is incredibly powerful. I used to live in New York City. In Times Square, there's an M&M store. What do you buy at the M&M store? Well, you could buy M&Ms, but you can go to the bodega and get M&Ms cheaper and easier than you can going all the way down to Times Square. People go there for merch. You're talking about a brand, an identity that is so powerful that it permeates the American consciousness and even the worldwide consciousness. You go to any duty-free store in an airport. What is there? A bunch of M&Ms. You can buy a plushie, a leather jacket with the M&Ms characters. You can customize labels on them or the color mix that you want. All of these different things are about our identity, that promoting pressure that we experience because they're culturally relevant and culturally appropriate for many of us, right? Because we've been heavily advertised to. So sometimes it's not about the physical, literal candy. It's about all of the other things that we do to create those promoting pressures around M&Ms. How about another one? Let's do color. Color is a powerful promoting pressure. Now, this highlights one of the things that's really important when we're doing this. Color often feels illogical to people. So sometimes engineers and other sort of folks who are encouraged to think in a particular kind of way struggle with the exercise of identifying all of the pressures. Why? Because a lot of pressures aren't very logical. It doesn't make sense that color matters. They're not Skittles. We all know that they don't taste different based on the color, and yet we all have a favorite color of M&M. My son Bear, who's 7-year-old, when he eats M&Ms, he divides them up into colors and eats them in some mystical formula. I'm pretty sure he's chanting a spell. I like the brown ones, the chocolate-looking ones, because it's very congruent in my brain. Tastes like chocolate, looks like chocolate. Those are my favorite color. I can think back to when I was a kid. There used to be two browns. There was a kind of a chocolate brown and then kind of a weird tan color, maybe a poop brown kind of color. And they got rid of that and it became what? Does anybody know? Blue. It became blue. For bonus points, though, how did we actually get that color? Well, we voted on it. There was a nationwide, worldwide competition in which you could, and this was pre-internet, so you had to call in. So you called in, and much like voting for American Idol, right, you hit the number to vote for the color that you wanted. And 10 million people did this. Voted not for a new flavor of M&M, not for a taste-promoting pressure, but color, and it made national headline news. It was a huge deal when blue was unveiled as the new color of M&M. Color is a powerful, powerful promoting pressure, and I can prove it to you. I know that if I give you a bowl of just one color of M&M, you'll actually eat fewer than if I give you the whole rainbow. We can test that in a laboratory. We can run experiments. So another skill you'll learn called counterfactual thinking. What is counterfactual thinking? Well, it's imagining the world as other than it is. And it's a key skill we want to develop as behavioral scientists because we want to live in a world that's different than it is. So we have to be able to start imagining that world, imagining that things are otherwise than they are. So why am I bringing this up with color? Well, if you still struggle to imagine why color actually matters, try and imagine a color world where M&Ms, instead of the bright rainbow that you see, are like puke green and urine yellow. Ugh. Would you think you'd be so lucky and so interested in eating M&Ms, so likely to do it? Probably not, right? If you can imagine a world where the color of M&Ms would make you not eat them, then you should be able to imagine a world in which the color of M&Ms makes you likely to eat them. So that's the kind of exercise you want to do. You think about, how would this pressure change, resulting in behavior change? So that counterfactual thinking is really, really important.